Chapter 3. The Hospital Waiting Room. Theme. Why does a loving God allow pain and suffering? Unbeliever. Jamal, a grieving father who recently lost his young daughter to cancer. Setting. A quiet hospital waiting room late at night. The fluorescent lights hummed softly overhead. The waiting room was nearly empty, save for a sleeping nurse at the desk and the faint echo of heels down the corridor. Plastic chairs lined the walls, and a vending machine offered overpriced consolation in the form of chips and soda. Daniel sat alone, thumbing through a small worn Bible. He wasn't here for a medical appointment. He came because Jamal had called. The door creaked open. Jamal walked in, eyes hollow, jaw clenched. He wore the same hoodie he'd been in for 3 days. He didn't say anything, just dropped into the chair next to Daniel and stared at the floor. "Thanks for coming," he said eventually, voice dry. "Of course," Daniel said. Another silence. "She died, man." Daniel nodded softly. "I heard. I'm so sorry." "I prayed," Jamal said bitterly. "More than I ever have in my life. We begged. We had hundreds of people praying. And nothing. She was 6, Daniel. 6. Daniel said nothing. "She never even had a chance," Jamal continued, voice cracking. "She never hurt anyone. All she wanted was to be a veterinarian. And now she's in the ground, and everyone tells me she's in a better place. But I'd rather have her here." "I know," Daniel whispered. "No, you don't," Jamal snapped. "Don't say that." "You're right," Daniel said after a pause. "I don't know exactly how you feel. But I do know what it's like to scream at the ceiling and get silence back." Jamal wiped his face with the sleeve of his hoodie. "You want me to believe in a God who lets little girls die?" he asked. "Who lets good people suffer and evil people live comfortably? How is that a loving God?" Daniel closed his Bible and held it loosely in his lap. That question, why do bad things happen to good people, might be the most asked question in human history. "It's not a question," Jamal said coldly. "It's a reason not to believe." "I get that," Daniel said. "But what if God's silence wasn't the same as his absence?" Jamal looked at him, eyes narrowed. "There's a story in John 11, Daniel continued. Jesus had a close friend named Lazarus. When Lazarus got sick, his sisters sent for Jesus. But Jesus waited. Didn't come right away. And Lazarus died. When Jesus finally arrived, Mary ran to him and said, 'Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died.' Just like you're saying now." Jamal didn't respond. "And what did Jesus do?" Daniel asked quietly. "He wept." John 11 verse 35. Shortest verse in the Bible. But it tells us everything. God doesn't look at your pain from a distance. He steps into it. He weeps with you. Jamal stared at the floor. "But then," Daniel said, "Jesus went to the tomb and raised Lazarus from the dead. Not because he had to, but because he wanted them to know death wasn't the end of the story." Jamal shook his head. "But my daughter's not coming back." Daniel's voice dropped. "Not yet." Jamal looked up. "I'm not pretending that makes this easier," Daniel said. "But I believe in a God who didn't stay safe in heaven while the world suffered. He entered it, took on flesh, felt the nails, died on a cross. Isaiah 53 verse 3 calls him a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. He understands loss more than anyone." Jamal swallowed. His lips trembled. "Then why not stop it?" "Because love requires freedom. And freedom allows evil. And evil causes pain. But God didn't abandon us to it. He entered it, redeemed it, and promised it won't have the final word." He opened Revelation 21 verse 4 and read, "He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." "I want to believe that," Jamal whispered. Daniel looked at him, eyes full of compassion. "Then let your grief lead you to him, not away. He can take your anger. He can take your questions. But don't walk away from the only one who can truly comfort you." Another silence settled over the room, not empty, but holy. After a long pause, Jamal said, "I keep thinking about something she said. A week before she passed. She told me, 'Daddy, when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask Jesus why he waited so long to come get me.'" Daniel smiled gently. She believed, Jamal said. She really did. Daniel put a hand on his shoulder. Then maybe she already knows the answer. And one day, so will you.